What's up, gamers? Frosty here. If you're wondering where we are right now, this is my creative Superflat world that I hosted last year, and anyone could join and build whatever they want. And it's a pretty big world, so I thought it would be fun to make a little tour of this place for a video. So this is the spawn right here, and if we walk over this way, we can see the list of all the rules of the world, as well as the list of all the players who joined. And this world was made on August 18th, 2023, so it's a little over a year old now. We haven't been making stuff for a whole year. We kind of stopped playing after about a month or two, so most of this stuff was made about August or September of last year. So yeah, let's get into the tour. So if we look at the map here, there's a lot of stuff in this world, so I'm not going to be able to show every little thing, but I'll try to show off like the majority of the big and important stuff, and then some small stuff too. So yeah, as I said, this is spawn right here. This is where the world first started. Speaking of just starting, this is actually the very first build on the world. It's a giant statue of the old skin I used to use, the snowman. And if we look down here, this white wool right here in the corner is the very first block we placed on the world. And then not too long later, we had all this other stuff here. And you can't even see most of this stuff because the render distance is so low, but it's more than just what you can see here. There's a lot more. So you can notice that there's a lot of giant statues of skins, like we got Dan TDM, Stampy, Sunday. Over here there's a whole bunch of other YouTubers, and a lot of pixel art too. A lot of people like making pixel art here. One little joke that I started is I just started making chickens everywhere. So I think the first one I actually made was this one right here, on top of Dr. Trioris's head, and then it ended up going all the way up to the height limit, and then there's just chickens everywhere now. I think there's like almost 50 of them, if not more, and there's just chickens. There's like one right here flying off the airship right here. There's one on top of that airplane. There's another one on top of this airship. There's one on top of this giant jungle tree here. And this jungle tree, if we come up to the top, there used to be sort of like a roller coaster up here that would just take you around the whole world at height limit, but we ended up removing it because it was in the way of some builds, like that giant pixel art we'll get to in a minute, and also that huge skyscraper and some other stuff. And plus it was so high you couldn't even see most of the world. So what I ended up doing instead of having that is I made this little, it's called the World Coaster, and it's literally, as the name implies, just a little roller coaster that goes around the whole world. You can see the track going right here. It goes up there past the Ender Dragon. And yeah, this thing just goes all the way around the world pretty much, and then it loops back around here and then just drops back down to the little station down here. And some of the minecarts are stuck on the roof of it. This right here next to that like rule board and stuff is Paul's fish tank. Paul's the local elder guardian on the world, but he's currently residing in this little pond over here with a bunch of villagers for whatever reason. And right next to this pond is the old prison slash court. So this is the court right here. This is where we had the first ever court case on the world. We got the jury over here, defendant, all that. And it was the Insanity versus Formula case from August 19th, 2023. So that was the second day of the world we had a court case. I forgot exactly what it was. Like, someone was suing someone. I forgot why though, but above that we've got a prison up here, which is a pretty small prison. We do have a few other ones that I'll show eventually. So yeah, that's the old court, and if we go right over here, this is the new court right here. This one's a little bigger, a little more modern. We've got a lot of mobs in here watching. Oh, and over here in this castle over here is the new prison right here. This one is a little more secure. We've got this lever right here. When you flick it, it turns on and off this giant lava wall right here. And we got some cells in here and an elder guardian to make it so they can't break anything. So I should probably explain the giant skyscraper here at spawn, which is probably one of my favorite parts of the world. If we come down here to this board right here, called skyscraper floors, this is just a list of all the floors of the skyscraper. There's 40 of them. The whole skyscraper was built by Pizza Steve, and then he had the idea of like giving each player in the world one floor to build whatever kind of rooms they wanted. So if we come down here to the entrance of it, there's a little lobby here. I actually made the lobby. At first there was just nothing down here. And you can come up the elevator. This is the first floor right here. This is the bathroom that Timbered Cat made. It's pretty cool. We got a toaster in the bathtub for reasons. Well, if we keep going up, like there's one right here. I believe this is Ratter's floor. This guy, he joined the world like for like one day and just built this and then never joined back, but it's really good. It's like one of the best interiors I've ever seen, especially like given how limited the space is in here to build. This guy's a pretty good builder. Yeah, most of these floors are pretty empty. Also, don't mind the Wither Storm, is just chilling right there, but if we go all the way up to the top, we got mine's all the way up here, the penthouse floor. So yeah, that's the apartment skyscraper thing. It goes all the way up to the height limit, and it's pretty cool. Moving along, and like I said, there's a lot of stuff here, so I'm not going to be able to show every little thing, but we've got this airship right here, right, like pretty much right above the middle of spawn. This is one of the first things built in the world, and there's tons of stuff in the sky, like shooting at it. Like there's a TIE fighter, an asteroid, the moon from Majora's Mask, a ghast, a flying 360 for whatever reason, some kind of like attack airplane, some more meteors, the Wither Storm, like I said earlier, a giant silverfish, another asteroid, and a giant gnome shooting lasers out of his eyes. There was some kind of lore with this. I don't remember what it was exactly, but there was some kind of lore going on in the world, and everyone was just attacking the airship. Sticking with stuff that's in the sky, we got a little steampunk airship that I made. And this thing is the whole reason we can't have fire spreads on, because if I turn on fire spreads, these planks start burning and the whole thing burns down. So, oh, and another reason I can't have fire spreads on, I made this up house over here, and it has a fireplace, which I believe also catches on fire, and can't ever turn fire spreads on because of those two things. Right under both of those, we have a little spleef arena, which is currently destroyed because we played around and didn't actually repair it. Usually we'll come and like fill in all the snow and have a little spleef match just for fun. Right next to the spleef we have a giant picture of my Xbox 360 profile picture. There's a lot of pixel arts on the world like this that I made that are based off of images. It's not like actual pixel art, like it's not something like this peanut butter jelly time banana, for example, where it's like an actual pixel art of something you can just find online. There's this website that you can use to turn images into Minecraft pixel art, and then you just recreate it. If you go really close, it looks really weird. There's like bedrock and crafting tables and stuff, but when you look at it from far away, it looks pretty cool. So I made a lot of these on the world. If you ever see like giant hyper-realistic pixel arts, then it's probably from me. And over here we have some kind of little theme park. We got this roller coaster. I forget who made it. They played on the world for like a day or two, but then their Xbox Live ran out, and then we never heard from them again. But they made this roller coaster here, so me and someone else like extended the theme park, so someone made this little haunted house here right next to it, and then I went over here and made this Ferris wheel. Obviously, it doesn't work, unfortunately. And then just over here we have a roller coaster that I made, which I'll give you a little test ride. It's pretty fun. This was pretty cool to make. I had to make it twice because halfway through making it the first time, someone griefed the world, and I had to exit without saving and then rebuild the whole thing. It happens. It is what it is. Just over here past the roller coaster, we have a castle that Race Car Dash made. We got a little entrance here with a lever you can flick to open the lava. When you come in, it's got a really nice little house here. And then a little farm, and then at the end there's like this little room with a throne. And there's a pig in there, you can't really see him. Oh, you can just see him over the fence over there. He loves the song Kokiri Forest from Ocarina of Time, so I made him this little note block theme to go in his castle. You can turn on with this button here. And over here, this super tall thing, which I honestly, I always forget this is even here. This is a giant dropper I just made one night because I felt like doing it. And this thing, when I say this is hard, this is extremely hard. Like, I don't think anyone has actually beaten this thing before because, I mean, it's not impossible. I beat it once while I was testing it, but no other person has ever been able to beat it. I actually want to try because I haven't tried in a while. I have no clue what the path is, but I'm just gonna try and see how far I can get. Dang it. While it is night though, after doing that, the world, I do want to take a minute to appreciate how good the world looks at night, because I did cover pretty much the whole world in torches, and it just looks really cool at nighttime. And there's a lot of stuff like that notch I made with the giant Minecraft sign, the airship, the ghast, the Stampy. There's a lot of stuff I lit up with torches that just looks really good at night, but some things like the giant Power Ranger you can barely see at night. Which, speaking of, this is the giant Power Ranger that never will get finished, I don't think. The person who made it hasn't played on the world in a very long time. I haven't even seen him online on Xbox in a very long time. So, I don't know if he's ever going to finish it. I doubt it, though. But the guy who made that also made most of these pixel arts over here in this area, and some of the giant skins, too. There's a few smaller builds on this side, like we got a little replica I made of Stampy's room. We have a few houses over here. We got this really cool modern one by Pooklol. And then just over here we have my amazing house. Probably the best Minecraft house ever. I mean, I don't think there's any room for discussion. Like, this is clearly the best Minecraft house you've ever seen. Back here over at spawn, we got a little graveyard over here. Rip Noob Slayer ran out of Xbox Live. Perry killed by Formula. Pouty Swing fell from a high place. Frosty and Tim banned by CC Syndicate. There's this CC Syndicate guy who joined the world, and I don't know how, but he must have like spam reported me and Timbered and got us banned somehow. I got like a 3-day ban. So that sucked. But then just across from the graveyard we got the subway here, which is pretty cool. We got a Jeb Sheep just chilling here. But if I grab a minecart, so this is the other subway station. If we come out here, this is what was going to be another town, but there's only a few buildings here. We got what giant Guns N' Roses pixel art there that I made. A few buildings here, like some kind of library. I made this in the style of old Minecraft. Like, this is all these blocks are blocks from OG, like Minecraft on the 360. And like, instead of having carpet here, it's just wool inside of the floor and stuff like that. We got a few other like old styled houses here, and then we got this cool little hedge maze here, which sometimes I get like 2 or 3 people and have them race through to see who can make it to the end. We got a few pixel arts in this section, like that giant Charizard, a whole bunch of video game ones here in a row, and there's this pretty big Death Star right here that I made. It's obviously not size accurate, or it would be like 20 times as big, but it's a perfect sphere, and it's shooting this laser at these chickens over here. Down here under the green Power Ranger, there's another kind of like little town with some buildings and stuff. We recreated a village here. We got a little grave for Tim when he got banned by CC Syndicate. We made this little monument for him. We got a little statue right here of race car skin of the British Special Forces. It's pretty accurate. Like, if you like stand right here, it just looks like he's like standing a few feet in front of me. It's like he's actually here. Another huge pixel art, that's Huey from the Boondocks. I made that one night. And then over here, this is one of my favorite parts of the world. I recreated the battle minigame, the Cove map. I recreated that here. This took a very long time to make because I had to take tons and tons of screenshots in the actual battle mode to recreate this. So I just hopped in with a second controller, and just went to like, I would go right here, take a screenshot. Go right here, take a screenshot. I just took hundreds, almost like 200 screenshots of the whole thing. But, you know, I got all the chest locations. And we got the skull, of course, the most important part. And it's really cool building stuff like this, like recreating it, because you get kind of an idea of how it was made. And then we have a little pixel art here of the best game ever made, and then the studio that made it. Now you've probably gotten a few glances at this in the corner of my screen, but this is the giant Star Destroyer I made. And this thing is humongous, definitely the biggest thing on the world in terms of just sheer size. If I stand right here... Alright, this is like one of the only angles where you can actually see the whole thing. Just to put it into perspective, this is how big it is on the map. So that really says a lot about just the sheer size of this thing. I did do some detail on the outside, like right here. I'm pretty proud with how that ended up looking. And then up here, and there's a little bit of interior in like the main control room area, but I'm not crazy enough to actually make an interior for this whole thing, or I probably would have been here for years. If I just break into here, you can see. Let me get some night vision. I mean, I don't know who would be crazy enough to do a whole interior for the inside of this thing, but not me. Back over here behind the 4J Studios thing, we got a note block song. There's a lot of note block songs on this world. I'm not going to show all of them, but I think this is my favorite one. I'll just push play and let you guys listen to it. See if you can recognize what it's from. So like I said, there's like a lot of really small builds, so I'm not going to be able to show all of them. Not that they're not good or anything, like, this desert temple is pretty cool, but if I tried to point out like every single like small little build like this, then we'd be here forever. So I'm just going to stick to the more big and grand builds. Over here, back where the amusement park was, there's this cool little underground base that Timbered Cat made. Really good interior. That's one thing I always suck at, is making interiors, but he made a pretty cool one here. And there's a few secrets. I'm not going to say what they say, but there's a few little secret books. I did actually add this secret in his base here. If you get a piece of coal and put it in this furnace and then take it back out, it opens up the secret room here, but I never ended up actually making anything in there, so maybe one day I will. You've probably seen this already, but I forgot to show it. This is the giant neon cat, like statue thing with the rainbow beacons, which looks pretty cool, especially at night, because it's lit up really well. It's kind of like an optical illusion, because when you move around like this, there's like all these weird lines on the screen. It looks pretty weird. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to show this. This is the AF Cake, one of the first builds in the world, and it was either you would get teleported in here if you got caught AFK, or you would just like go in here to go AFK, and then you push this button and it plays the AFK song. You've probably already seen this too, but this is the giant Ender Dragon in the sky. Just casually chilling there. And if we set it to night, this is another one that looks really good at night, because it's covered in torches and we've got like glowstone coming out of the breath, which is a really cool touch. There's just randomly a giant jungle over here in the very top left corner of the map. I don't even know who did this, but there's just a random jungle up here. And we have a few like mini pixel arts of some people's profile pictures on the world. We got Formula, Kiwi, Race Car, Pizza Steve, Dog Squad, Noob Slayer, and Timbered Cat. Now this thing's pretty cool right here. At first you're like, well, what the heck's this? But if we fly a little bit far away and you look at it, it's like this optical illusion, and it gives the illusion that all the little rows and like the carpeted areas are at an angle, which obviously it isn't, because this is Minecraft, and if we fly right up next to it you can see that it's straight, but it's just a cool little optical illusion there. Now I met Scrim, who you might recognize from some of the Let's Play videos. I met him after we had played on this world, but I was showing him the world and he ended up making this little, I guess you could say pixel art of one of his skins that he uses, but it was supposed to be one of like the actual statues, but he never ended up finishing it, so it's just the front half looks like he's a hunchback. Now you might recognize some stuff over here. This is like the little area of the map where I've been using to test stuff in the Let's Play world, so we've got a few like tests here that I did for my Mega Base. Race Car's Mega Base here when he was testing like the size and stuff for that. We got the Town Hall from the last episode, and here's the little basketball court and a little gazebo that I made and one of my live streams, which, by the way, if you didn't know, I live stream on YouTube, so come check that out if you want. No pressure. Oh, and this over here is the giant cruise ship I made that I never ended up finishing, the inside of it at least, because this thing is really freaking big on the inside, and I mean I probably could have knocked it out in like a week or two. It's mostly just building a whole bunch of rooms over and over again. But if you're wondering how we did the water, obviously I didn't go through and fill all this water in one by one, and it is actually a few blocks deep too, so there is this trick. I can show you a little demonstration of how it works over here. So this is a very small demonstration compared to that, but it works the same way. And the nice thing is you can even do this in a survival world too. But you just take some ice, and you build up pillars like this every other block. And you just have to do two sides where the corners touch, like this for example. And then you go into survival, and then just break all the ice. Yeah, once I break this final block here, you can see it all gets filled in, just like that. Oops, I forgot I was still in survival. So we are coming up to the end of the tour here. Obviously there's tons of stuff that I haven't shown yet, but it's a lot of like really small stuff, like, oh, there's a SpongeBob Gary pixel art, or there's a bunch of like country flags, or a little chicken with a cowboy hat shooting a creeper in the head. But yeah, there's a lot of small builds that I'm not going to get into super big detail and like show every little thing, or we would be here forever. Now there's one last thing I want to show in the world, which I'm saving the best for last here, and that's Drip O'Brien, who's like kind of like our world's version of the Statue of Liberty pretty much. He wasn't the first thing built on the world, but he was one of the first things built on the world. And I do actually have a screenshot I might put on the screen now of like the very first day of the world when there was barely anything here. That was all that was on the world on like the first day. And then within like a month we had all this stuff here to get built. So it was pretty cool to watch the whole world evolve like that. So yeah, I think that's gonna conclude our little tour here. One last thing I want to do though is actually do one last little flyover of the world. So I'm gonna pull a Stampy and let's just break this glass here, and we're just gonna take this helicopter around the world one last time and get a little look at everything. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, stay frosty.